Forget Alligator Alley. Some of the worst abuses that are happening to immigrants detained by the Trump administration, male and female, are happening in and around South Florida, in Miami, and existing facilities, including people, human beings being shackled together for 12 hours straight, being forced to feed while shackled 12, 15 hours into the day. Women being forced, women, detainees, who are being forced to urinate and use bathrooms in front of men. People that are being left on buses for a dozen hours in a hot parking lot before they can be processed, all going on in 3 major facilities in South Florida. I'm going to report on it right now. The Guardian has broken the story. Human Rights Watch has broken the story. Americans for Immigration Justice has broken the story. And we're going to talk about it right now. Forget about Alligator Alley. The existing facilities are cruel and unusual punishment to other human beings. And one other statistic as I move through this hot take. And wait till you hear this number, of the 56,000 daily detainees under the Trump administration, 72%, 3/4 or more, don't have a criminal record. Chew on that one. I'm Michael Popok. You're on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF. One of the reasons that they're building Alligator Alley to stick human beings in an un-air-conditioned barracks built in the middle of the Everglades surrounded by barbed wire and alligators is because of the abuses that have now been documented by Human Rights Watch. The fact that Human Rights Watch, which normally goes into third world countries and makes reports, has to do the same thing in America is not only an embarrassment, it's an impeachable offense for Donald Trump and everybody that runs Homeland Security and Immigration and Custom Enforcement. They should all be removed immediately from office. I found it ironic that earlier in June, the Department of Homeland Security and ICE issued an entire press report about how they're protecting children who are in the immigration and deportation process, and they're protecting the children. One of their spokespeople said the media should stop focusing on scoring political points and focus on, safety and the children. I agree. But what about adult human beings that are being treated like animals, not in some black ops site like it's Zero Dark 30 or Black Hawk Down. This isn't a waterboarding torture chamber that's being run by the Americans or their allies. This is happening on American soil. There's 3 major detention centers. I happen to know all 3 of them because of my work in South Florida as a lawyer. There's one, the Miami Federal Detention Center downtown in Miami, usually used for people that are awaiting a criminal trial of some sort, or in the process of doing that. There's another facility called Chrome with a K, Krome. A lot of women are processed in Chrome in West Miami. And then up in Broward County, which is near Fort Lauderdale, in Pompano Beach, there's another one. And Human Rights Watch and Americans for Immigration Justice and others have all gone in there to observe. Now, I'll tell you who should be going in there to observe are the local Congress people for these districts. The problem is many of them are Republican, but they need to provide oversight and get into these facilities. The problem is ICE, Kristi Noem, ICE Barbie, Donald Trump, Pam Bondi are all blocking Congress people from doing their jobs, or worse, arresting them. Arresting them, like in New Jersey when they tried to visit Delaney Hall, another federal detention center, this one operated by a private contractor who donated a lot of money to Donald Trump. The mayor of Newark got arrested. Congressperson McIver got arrested and indicted because they were doing oversight. Right? So that's a problem right now. But the reporting that's coming out through The Guardian is that when they got in to see these people, and these are just some examples of the abuse, and there's nothing else you can call this but abuse. and cruel and unusual punishment. This is not the country that we are supposed to be living in. This allergy season, don't wait until you're under the weather or dealing with pollen overload. Use Beekeeper's Naturals proactively to support your immunity and defend against seasonal allergies. Look, I stocked up on my favorite Beekeeper's Naturals products to keep my sinuses clear and moisturized. I swear by their products. And with peak travel and busy season upon us, I'm using Beekeeper's Naturals daily to stay ahead of anything that might throw off my plans, because nothing's worse than getting sick before a big trip. Beekeeper's Naturals Nasal Spray and Nasal Spray Max help clear my congestion and soothe and moisturize the nasal passages so I can breathe deeply and easily. Their sinus support helps maintain healthy histamine levels, reduces sinus irritation, and supports immune health. Both products contain propolis, the medicine of the beehive, which helps reduce histamine response, supports the eyes, nose, and throat, and delivers antioxidants, vitamin C, iron, and B vitamins. Not only do these products work, I love Beekeeper's Naturals' mission, reinventing the medicine cabinet with clean, non-toxic products that actually work. And they practice sustainable beekeeping and third-party tests to keep out pesticides and heavy metals. Today, Beekeeper's Naturals is offering Legal AF listeners an exclusive offer. Go to beekeepersnaturals.com/legalaf or enter code LegalAF to get 20% off your order. That's BEEKEEPERSNATURALS.com/legalaf or enter code LegalAF. This is not my America or your America. We are patriots. This is a depraved and disgusting set of behaviors and conducts that are being tolerated and implemented by the Trump administration. And we should not stand for it. This is not patriotism. This is depravity. This is injustice. These are what fascists do. You don't shackle dozens of people together and make them eat like dogs off the floor. You don't make people sit on a bus for a dozen hours in the sweltering Florida heat and then make them use a bathroom that's supposed to be basically a latrine, something that you use to urinate, and make them defecate in the parking lot for hours and sit in it. You don't make women at the Chrome facility not get proper health care, gender care, or force them to urinate or other things in front of men. This is not America, treating people like animals and dogs. And the big statistic that came out of this, which is remarkable, is that look at the volume of human beings that Donald Trump is effectively abusing and detaining through his deportation and immigration process. 56,000 detainees a day. That's separate from the 3,000 arrests that Stephen Miller is pushing immigration and customs enforcement to go after. This is detainees, 56,000 a day. As a comparison, in 2024 under Biden, it was about 37,000 a day. 72% of that number have no criminal record. So when you hear the press secretary, a spokesperson for ICE, Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, Kristi Noem, look you in the eye and lie to you, you need to be ready to call them out. That they're getting rapists and pedophiles and criminals off the street. You think this administration, which is covering up for Jeffrey Epstein, is focused on getting criminals and pedophiles and child rapists off the street? Then how do they explain the fact that 72% don't even have a criminal record, other than perhaps being out of status on their immigration immigration status? So what do we do about it? We talk about it here. We expose it here. We report on it here. We implore our congresspeople to do their jobs for which they get paid, for which they swore an oath on both sides of the aisle, to protect America and protect and promote American values and uphold the Constitution. This is not upholding the Constitution. I spent a considerable amount of time on the MeidasTouch Network and on Legal AF talking about the killer supermax prisons of El Salvador at CICOT. These sound as bad, if not worse, of how people are being treated. There's even evidence that's in the report that at times ICE agents, the ones that Donald Trump is busy protecting from being spit on or having whatever happened to them, that they turned off their cameras in order to abuse and beat detainees. Did you hear that? They turned off their cameras, talk about bad cops, and beat people that were in their custody and care. These are human beings. If they have violated the law or regulations or crimes or committed crimes, there's a process and due process to get them out of the country or to put them into prison or whatever it is with due process. But this is not supposed to be the 1940s in the Deep South or in other prison systems around the world. It is repulsive to Americans, to fair-minded people. And the polling, by the way, shows it. More than 60% of Americans oppose Donald Trump's approach to immigration and deportation. And that's before this report came out. I'm sure if you polled them now, are you in favor of or against human beings who are being detained by the Trump administration, being abused in inhumane treatment in the detention centers? I'm sure the number would be approaching 100% as a no. So we'll continue to follow it. You're here on the MeidasTouch Network and Legal AF. Now more than ever, we need you to help keep us on the air. Independent journalism is under attack. Mainstream media owned by corporate giants is under attack, and they're folding and they're firing people like me that do their reporting, or comedians, or, who's next? We need your help. Hit the subscribe button here on the MeidasTouch Network. Come over to Legal AF, the YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button there as well. No paywall, no outside investors. You're it. We're it together, right? So we got to run into this burning building of this democracy under Donald Trump together. We got to lean forward, not back. We do it together. We vibrate on the same frequency. Now's the time to support each other. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. In collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.